Hello, I want to be like you, listeners and viewers. This is Elbi Cespedes here, and we are celebrating 1 year of the podcast. So, I can't believe we've been doing this for a year. It's so thrilling, and it's been like one of the most gratifying things, and I'm so grateful to have this podcast and to get the chance to speak with all of you about theater and speak to some of the people that I've looked up to forever about theater, and get the chance to meet and chat with some new people about the work they're doing in the theater. So it's been an incredibly exciting process, and in TV and film as well. I we've gotten to chat with casting directors, actors, directors, choreographers, musicians and music directors and composers and orchestrators. I mean, like, it is just and people from all over the gamut. Some people who are my age and some people who are octogenarians who've been in the business for 50 plus years. So I cannot thank you all for listening and checking us out enough, because this year has been really special, and this coming year is going to be really special. This coming month is going to be really special. The guests that we have coming up on I Want to Be Like You are so exciting, and also some pinch me guests, okay? And I can't quite announce who they are yet, but within the next couple months, you guys will get to see some of our greatest episodes yet, which is pretty thrilling, pretty exciting. But because of this, in honor of our 1 year anniversary, all this week, we're going to be doing a re-release week where we go back and show you some of the episodes that we felt like we want to shed a light on and give more love to. So some of these episodes are not necessarily in our top 10, but a lot of that's because they're a little bit older. So, we get the chance to shine a light on them and show you, some of our favorites, some of my favorites, some of Christian's favorites, some of Angel's favorites. So, so we're going to start this week with Andy Karl. Now, Andy Karl is a 3-time Tony-nominated Broadway superstar, and he was and still is in so many different capacities, like my Broadway idol, my Broadway icon, the person who I looked up to first and foremost. And a lot of that started with Groundhog Day, where he played Phil Connors and received an Olivier in London, and also a Tony nomination for the show, and the show received 7 Tony nominations. Before that, he did Rocky. He played Rocky in Rocky on Broadway, also received a Tony nomination for that. On the 20th Century on Broadway, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, and Saturday Night Fever was his Broadway debut. I could go on and on. At the time when we were shooting this, he was also in Pretty Woman, and at the time when we were shooting this, he was in the middle of his run in Moulin Rouge, and now he is currently the dentist off Broadway in Little Shop of Horrors alongside Jordan Fisher as Seymour, which is thrilling. And I haven't seen him in the show yet, but it's a perfect part for him, so I cannot wait to see him in the show. And Andy has just been the kindest person to us. He's like I said, he's they say don't meet your heroes, but he's one of the kindest people, and also, which I just said, he's one of the kindest people, but also he is an incredibly talented performer, which I still think he's one of the best Broadway performers that we have working in the industry today, and we're very lucky to have him. And I could not believe that I got the chance to chat with him. In my old intro, which you will not see in this capacity, but in my old intro, I was like, I can't believe I'm saying it. I got to speak and hang out with Andy Karl. How cool is that? And I knew him first, I should mention, from Law & Order SVU, where he did a whole run for a year on Law & Order. I think that was season 17. He did a full run for a year on SVU, and that's where I knew him from first and foremost. And then he went on to do Groundhog Day. So anyway, this is a special episode to me, and it's a special episode for all of us. It's one of our first milestone episodes to be able to sit down and chat with Andy, and we were grateful to chat with him, and I think it's one of our most special episodes. So we couldn't help but go back in time to show you Andy Karl's I Want to Be Like You. 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 Okay, sweet. Sweet. All right, welcome to another episode of I Want to Be Like You. Today, I want to be like Andy Karl.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Elbi?
So this is kind of crazy. It's we've been talking about this because it's crazy to even say the words I want to be like Andy Karl, because I think I've been saying those words since I was a child.
Oh, you're the best. You're the best.
I mean, you know this because I've spoken to you about this, but I have been the biggest fan of yours for going on 10 years now.
Thank you.
The second I discovered you in Groundhog Day,
I see you're wearing the shirt.
Yes, I'm wearing the shirt.
If you had your time again, if I had my time again, I'd probably do Groundhog Day again.
Yeah, right.
I love that show.
But the second when I discovered you in Groundhog Day, I was like, oh, I have to find out everything this man has ever done, and I became like
so many things.
There's so many things.
There's so many things, but it's like, just so lucky and
it's
to be doing this for a living and to get paid. It is a crazy life, but I'm just so glad that I've like been able to meet you over the years and see you at the stage door, like talk to you real quick, and I'm just so happy what you're doing right here.
Thank you.
You're really taking advantage of all the stuff that's in our lives as far as like the internet, making podcasts.
You
also do, I looked at all your stuff too, so I'm a big
thanks.
fan. I'm fanning out on you. I'm seeing the parcour and all that, everything.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I love that you're like doing everything.
Man.
I know whatever's next is gonna be huge.
Oh man, dude, that means
Huge.
a whole lot because
No, you're inspirational. So I'm actually thinking about getting into parkour myself.
Oh,
so.
you should. I can teach our gym.
I'm much older, so I'll see what happens.
Well, listen, we just found a new gym in Brooklyn, and it's like super rad. And
is that the one that's on your website?
Exactly. That was our old one. They just built a new one that's like massive in Greenpoint, and it is like so.
Let's go.
And
I'm there.
Let's do it.
I'm there. So if you got a day free,
that's
do it. That's on show schedule.
Okay, so we start with the same question every time, and it is, who was your I want to be like you when you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid. So I saw Michael Surfaris in Tommy.
Really?
I came up to see that show like 8 times. I'm from Baltimore, where I've been going back and forth recently. I came up here when I was a teenager, and I was like, oh my God, if that's being done on Broadway, I want to be that. Mm-hmm. It was more the show that I wanted to be a part of. So it's like Michael Surfaris and Tommy.
Surfaris. You've gotten to meet Michael Surfaris?
I've met him a few times, but we're not like friends or buds or anything.
Yeah.
Along the way came, I started to find out what I could do and how I could, I liked comedy. I liked timing. Yeah. So I saw Nathan Lane and the producers. I saw, awesome. and in Birdcage, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, right,
Doug Sills, Chris Sieber, who's doing Death Becomes a Race right now. These people just became my idols of timing and comedy. And I was like, if I can be on Broadway doing anything close to resembling that, they are my inspiration. And getting to do something like Groundhog Day, where I was able to do comedy and timing and everything, I felt like I lived up to that. But still, they're still my idols. And
my gosh, awesome! I love that. So you're from Baltimore. Did you used to come to New York a lot?
Yeah, so it's about 4 hours away. So when I first started getting into theater, and I guess that was around 15, 16, when I first got to do my first show. It was a kid's show down in Baltimore at the White Marsh Dinner Theater.
Nice.
And that's where I met my tribe of actors. I met the tribe. I think I was 15.
Oh, sick.
Just getting my my license permit and then getting a driver's license. But the way I got into theater was sort of like I was being a bad kid at school and I got caught smoking in the boys' room. Like, it's so cliche. Nice. And it was the one time that I ever, my friend was already in there. He's smoking and he was the real bad guy at the school, real the coolest guy. And he's smoking a cigarette. He's hands it to me. Vice principal pops in. Boom. I'm shut down. I'm suspended for a week. And I was like, I didn't even get to enjoy the cigarette, which is fine. It's probably best that I'm not a smoker now.
Well, that vice principal, exactly. Look at you now. Yeah. That vice principal could look at you now.
Yeah, exactly. So I used to come up to New York just when I got into theater and started being in that tribe and then just being inspired by shows.
What was the first Broadway show that you saw? Do you remember?
Actually, it was our high school, high school. My freshman year of high school, we saw Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, did you? No, I never saw it.
You never saw it? And
it was on for more than my whole life.
The spectacle blew me away. I was like, there was smog, and there was a boat, and there was singing and costumes, and these beautiful songs. And I said, one day, I just to be in the ensemble of that would be amazing.
Right.
And funnily enough, after I did Groundhog Day on Broadway, I was asked if I'd be interested in doing the Phantom on Broadway, and I was like, I can't sing like that.
Really?
The guy who was doing it. The guy who was doing it at the time. Just I can't remember the guy's name, and it was right around that time. And I got to meet him when we were promoting the show in Cleveland. I think we were doing like a Cleveland tour thing. They fly people out to go promote what's happening on Broadway so that the tour people could see it. But the guy who was playing the Phantom at the time, and he sang Music of the Night, and it was gorgeous, and I was like, "You have to be that good to sing."
I think you can
that
do
show.
it. I think there's still hope. There's still a chance.
Maybe someday.
So then let me ask you this, because we like to go into the like ins and outs of the business and whatnot on this pod, and I want to know in terms of like college, like were you thinking like, because now the musical theater college scene is like such a thing.
Yeah.
Were you did you go to college for musical theater? Was it
No, I went to college for just music in general. I
Okay.
was like thinking, oh, maybe I'll be a voice teacher or something.
Sure.
I had my mother played organ for her church, so that's
Right.
kind of how the music came into my life, and I always had a piano around the house.
Yeah.
And she had these albums from like Handel's Messiah and Brahms and everything, but also Jesus Christ Superstar, Tommy.
Nice.
My dad had like the Led Zeppelin albums. My brother had a great
sick.
collection of albums, so I had a real like good musical influence of everything from from early musical theater to classical music to classic rock.
So you learned how to play piano.
So I taught myself how to play piano.
Wow.
And that's when I sort of applied to my university, Towson State University, and got in and spent about 2 years there before I was like, you know what, I want to try performing, because I had done like a high school show, and then I started working at a dinner theater locally. So it was a little bit of a working education along with being learning how music works, learning how to write music, learning how to learn music. And awesome. So my education in part was that. And then so I was performing and I was doing that, but I was putting it all to good use. And then I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And it was actually a teacher at Towson State. He was directing, we're doing Grease, the musical, because they would always do a musical during the summer. Yeah. And I was playing Danny Zuko, of course.
Nice, yeah.
No, not of course. I was totally threatened, and I was like, I can't. I'm the lead of a musical. How the hell am I going to do this? But he pulled me aside. This guy Todd Pear3, and he was like sort of a director there locally in Baltimore, but also did some of the college shows. And he's like, you should. You could try this. You'd actually be pretty good at this. You give it a shot. This is something you could do. Right. Something that he saw in me while I was doing it. And from that, I was like, I'm hooked. Somebody gave me the yes. And I was like, I'm going. So if there's anything that I can do now, it's inspire young actors if I see it go, and I see that in you. So
thank you.
I'm like, keep going. Dude. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm really impressed by it.
I should tell you this. So I was auditioning for college, and I'm doing this, they require a monologue and a song, and I'm working this monologue with our first guest, Michelle Pock, who starts previews tonight, just in time.
Break legs.
Yeah. So she's like, essentially, do you know the play Red by John Logan?
I do.
It was like Eddie Redmayne, Alfred Molina.
Right.
And so the point of the play is that he's, Eddie Redmayne's character is like meeting his idol. And he's like, this big, and he's painting with this idol, this whole show and all this other stuff. But then at the tail end of the show, like the idol's like, he's a total jerk the whole time. Yeah. And then at the tail end of the show, Eddie Redmayne's character blows up on him. And so that's the monologue that I'm doing. And she goes...
Sounds like Swimming with Sharks. That's another movie you could check out.
Swimming with Sharks. Swimming with Sharks.
Yeah.
Do you know it, Chris?
Kevin Spacey's in it, but that was early Kevin Spacey.
Okay, sure. But so I'm like, okay, so then at the end of she goes to me, Michelle's like to me, okay, you know what? You're going to have to imagine somebody. You're going to really have to think of somebody. Give me someone who's like someone that you really look up to. And I was like, Andy Karl.
All right.
And she was like...
Should I be a jerk to you right now?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, right.
Listen,
yeah,
kid.
Right, yeah.
You're never going to make it. What is this microphone I'm holding? I don't get to... I have to hold this thing?
Yeah, right. So, and I told Michelle... And so then Michelle goes... And she had known your work and whatnot. She's like... Oh, great. You picked the nicest guy on Broadway. And I was like, so then I imagined Andy Karl, and that's what got me into college. Imagining yelling at you is what got me into college.
That's amazing. I love that. There's always, what's great about that story is like finding inspiration that can guide you in a character, and that's what I always do. I always find out who's that person that this character needs to be like, and maybe I elevate that to like an nth degree and make it something that is a little like just performative,
right?
But at least it's something that can inspire me.
Right.
And where do I go from that? And there's been that my entire life. Like, where do I find? Like, I think Groundhog Day was Jason Bateman, Ryan Reynolds controversy. I'm mentioning all the controversial people
hey,
right
listen,
now,
man.
But I'm using them as characters, as references. And Robert Downey Jr. Combine those three people, and that was my inspiration for Phil Connors.
That's so
It
cool.
originally started with I'll think of it later, and my audition was different. It was somebody else, and I'm not thinking about them.
Oh,
But
sick.
I'll
Amazing. So you, after college, what made you? Well, you said who made you pivot to musical theater, but what was your first pivot to doing it? Did you move to the city to start auditioning, or how did you? Wow.
Yeah.
After you graduated,
Had a friend that lived up here, and I was like, "You mind if I come up for a while, and I can pay you rent for a space that was probably the size of this room,
Nice.
And the bathroom, there's no kitchen whatsoever.
Sure.
We had a microwave or something, and it was up on 72nd across from I think AMDA or whatever's.
Oh, sure. It's a great neighborhood, though. That's
great
amazing.
great neighborhood, but at the time it was like 90s, so it was
Okay.
so 42nd Street was still like getting its Disney overhaul at
Sure,
that point.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
But I gave it a shot, and I decided, why the hell not? And I just auditioned for everything. I looked in the Backstage magazine, which everybody check it out. It was not a magazine at the time. It was like it was a paper. It was a leaflet, and I said, whatever I see, I'll just go audition, see ensemble or something. Great. So. With that passion, and also going to Broadway dance and trying to like get it, trying to become like good enough as a performers on Broadway and out of Broadway, I started booking a lot of regional gigs and started working at the Akron Dinner Theater, the Carousel Dinner Theater, which I assume is still around. I did a show there, did some at like Shawnee Playhouse, started really just like booking stuff early in ensemble roles because I loved it so much. And the fact that I was actually getting hired to be in a show at all was like 10 times the feeling of getting a Tony nomination, which I've gotten, but I was like, probably the most thrilling thing I've ever felt was actually being hired to be in a show.
Right.
And I was like, I'm a working actor. I can't believe it. I actually, I found worth in myself because I put the effort in, and I found that I could get paid to do this.
Yeah. What was your first professional job? You mentioned the dinner theaters. Do you remember the show?
Yeah, I mean, there was dinner theaters in Baltimore, but it was at the Shawnee Playhouse. Was it there, or it was like Carousel or Shawnee? It was one of the. I'm not sure which was which. Shawnee Playhouse was to be hired as the lead in Brigadoon, and
awesome.
And whatever, it was a Carousel. I was in the ensemble of My Fair Lady.
Oh my gosh, sweet.
So
That's
but they
awesome.
put on great productions at Carousel and Shawnee. But Carousel's just like they bring in equity members who to play the leads.
Okay, gotcha.
So it was like true, like really good professionals.
I think dinner theater is kind of awesome. I went to my first dinner theater like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, wait a minute, you give me food. Food is pretty amazing, actually. And then you get to eat dessert while you're watching the show, and you're eating food. I'm like, this is... I wish Broadway was like that. Where's the dinner theater on Broadway?
Exactly. Well,
I mean,
at least in... like Moulin Rouge, they have the front seats that have the tables
so
there,
cool.
so you're at least you have a drink. They may not be selling food out there, but was it the Pie musical?
The Pie, Waitress.
Waitress. Sorry, I was gonna say Beautiful, but I was like, no, it's another Jesse Mueller.
You were in
musical.
that one. Oh, the workshop, right?
The workshop of Waitress.
Yeah.
I know, but did they serve pie or something? They had pie.
I think so, something like that. Great Comet did food,
So-
I know, and like Network did food.
You never know. Dinner theater's gonna make its way
Maybe,
back.
yeah, maybe that's what they're finally building on that little 44th Street, that area on 44th and 45th. They're building a Broadway dinner theater. That's where we're
Listen, the Stardust restaurant where people are singing singing their
true.
faces off and everybody's eating and having a good time. They have a line down the street.
Yeah,
people are
every day.
coming.
Yeah.
They love
People want the dinner theater.
a good dinner and show.
Yeah, right. So how long did you stay non-union before you got your equity card?
How long? Back then, I don't know if they still do the same thing where you build points.
Yeah,
you get a number of weeks.
Not anybody can do an equity.
In a non-equity show, it's like a theater that is deemed worthy of gaining those points if you work in that theater. So Shawnee and Carousel had that.
Oh, really?
You could acquire points.
Okay,
and
sure.
So I got to enough points in those
Through those
gigs.
two theaters.
Through those two theaters.
And so then you picked up your equity card.
And applied for my equity card and got it. I was like, yeah.
I mean, it was a huge. That's a huge deal. That was a huge. I mean, now you essentially all you have to do is show a pay stub and you get it.
Yeah. I think that's and that's the way to go. Look, people want to apply and they want to become part of equity. It's a great union. I mean, there's the health coverage and all that kind of stuff as well, as long as you keep working and make your equity points. And I certainly depend on equity to insure me and to protect me and to fight for the rights of other actors. So I'm glad I'm unionized. I'm so blessed that I'm part of that union, and still to this day, I've been with them for a very long time.
What was your first? How did you get your first agent?
I was on the tour of Cats the Musical.
Yes.
As Rum Tum Tugger. I forget how I got that gig. I think I auditioned for something. I auditioned for Starlight Express.
Oh wow.
No, reverse that. Was it Cats and then Starlight Express? I can't remember anymore. So many shows. In any case, what was the question?
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about my high school career. I'm like, oh, so many shows. I don't even know. Actually,
shows.
I should bring this up to you. I have to pivot this, and then we'll go back to that agent question.
Please.
We have something in common that I discovered in researching you. You and I both starred as Judd Fry in Oklahoma in high school. That might as well be a union in of itself.
I'm telling you.
Know what I mean?
Poor Judd is dead. Poor Judd Fry's dead.
I'm thinking the door squeaks.
The door squeaks. The door squeaks.
Yeah,
I remember that well because I broke my toe skateboarding in high school, and I still performed Judd Fry. I made the boot in my cast into a boot that looks like my other boot. And I performed
Judd with the broken toe.
Judd Fry had a cast on his foot.
But that's how you knew that you couldn't mess with him. Because if he broke his toe, what would he do to you,
You're
Carly?
getting the foot. You're getting the foot.
Yeah, right. So watch out. You get Judd Fry in the foot. So that's what we should name the episode. I want to be like you with Andy Karl, Judd Fry in the foot.
Judd Fry in the foot.
So what's it called? So yes, your agent. How did you get your first
Got
agent?
my first agent. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But it was definitely on the tour of Cats. Another actor who was playing Grisabella, who sings Memory. Yeah. She had an agent. She had her agents come out and see her in the show.
Oh, cool. So you booked Cats without an agent?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was Cats without an agent, Starlight Express without an agent. These are open calls. I just remember being on tour with now I got it. I was on tour with the non-equity version of Tommy the Musical.
Yes.
And because as I discussed, Michael Cerveris was a big inspiration, and to be able to do that show was great. And I slept on the floor of a bus for months on end, and did that show, but
working like 100 hours.
Yeah, so we were in, I think, somewhere near Los Angeles or something, and they were holding auditions for Starlight Express, and they knew that this tour was in town. And we had a bunch of us come to audition, and it was me and this guy Michael Seelbach. We went in, and I booked it.
Nice.
So I was a swing on Starlight Express, and while I was doing Starlight Express, the Cats tour came into town, and I auditioned for them, and that's how I ended up being in Cats.
Who was your first agent?
It was Lally Talent. I wonder if they're still around.
Oh, really?
But cool. I left them after a while, and they weren't too happy about it. But it was
sure. It happens.
It happens.
That's kind of the business.
It happens. As you advance your career, you try to find the right agent for the right fit and right for your career, and and things are going very well now. So it's,
and I try to ask that question every time, because I thought that finding an agent for me was like kind of the hardest thing I had to do.
It's a weird, difficult thing, but mine was a reference from another actor, which is that's I feel like that's kind of how
it's still done. It's still definitely.
Would you mind if I gave them my information? Be kind to your friend who has an agent or your co-worker, and be nice. Like, would you mind if I said something to them, or like if you gave them my number? And that's kind of how it happened. And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely fine. And then we all were in the same wheelhouse, and
Yeah.
everybody's making a little money. So
Yeah, right.
the agents are making money. Trust them, they make money.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about your Broadway debut. You made your Broadway debut in 1999, Saturday Night Fever.
Yes, I did.
Tell me your audition process for that.
I had actually was doing Lally Talent, which we just spoke about. Got me to a swing gig in Saturday Night, which was Sondheim's first show he ever wrote by himself, and they did a revival of it with.
This was at Second Stage.
This is Second Stage, yeah. So I was one of the covers.
Was it Laura Benanti in that one?
Was it Laura Benanti? No, it was Laura. Jeez, I'm gonna have bad names. David Campbell and Laura, who's married to Matthew Warchus, my director for Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember.
Christian's getting on it.
What year?
Was it 2001?
Mm-hmm.
You can look up Matthew Warchus' wife.
Yeah.
And now
who's in Saturday Night?
She was.
That's funny. So you were in for a swing.
And Andrea Burns was in it.
Oh wow! I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, Lauren Ward.
Lauren Ward, there
Lauren
we go.
Ward. Okay, gotcha.
Ward, I think
Lauren
of
Ward.
Warchus. She and David Campbell, who's in Australia, who I just met recently, we had a sort of reunion of 23 years ago, and we're becoming friends now again after all this time.
Oh, sick.
But that was the first off-Broadway show I did, and
I thought you said you booked that show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah,
so
that was one of the Lally Talents,
and that was kind of a big production, right? That was the first production of Saturday Night.
Of Saturday Night that was doing off Broadway, and
you're working with
Sondheim was there. He poked his head in. I wasn't deep in the depths. Who directed that? It was a woman who
I'm asking you the
I
tough
should know,
questions.
and it's so far. You go back.
No, it's okay.
Another
That's
one
right.
to look up.
That's right. But yeah, tell me about that. That's crazy.
Was working on the show, covering some of the characters in it, and it's a small ensemble show, so it was great. It was I knew this was this professional, this big time. I better be on my game.
Did you know about Sondheim and the breadth of Sondheim beforehand?
I mean, I had only really known Into the Woods and sort of peripherally known a lot of his other work. Like Into the Woods, it was definitely my jam because my parents took me to come see it on Broadway.
Oh,
and
cool!
I was so blown away by that show.
Yeah.
And which was a bucket list thing to do it later.
Right, exactly.
So from there, they were holding auditions for Saturday Night Fever.
Right, from Saturday Night to Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. Which is weird, right?
That's funny.
And I went in and auditioned for that, and it was me and Joey McIntyre.
Nice.
From New Kids on the Block.
Nice.
And I think they were thinking of him to go in as the lead.
Yeah.
And something didn't work out, but they shifted the understudy for the lead into that because that guy was leaving. The guy was playing Tony Manero, and I came in for that part. So I'm playing one of the principal characters in Saturday Night Fever for my first Broadway show.
Nice.
So. Yeah, it was.
Who did you play? You said, sorry?
Joey, one of the faces in Saturday Night Fever. For anybody that knows that show,
and musical. That was huge for you, right? I mean, that's a huge. How long did you do it for?
What did I do it for? A year, and then I went on tour with it for maybe under a year, and that was crazily all around 9/11 time. So it was insane.
Gotcha. But that show is pretty uplifting in a sense, right? I mean, uplifting.
I mean, it's kind of a weird show.
I was gonna say because at the end he dies, so that's
there's a character that dies. There's there's a little bit of I don't know,
darkness in it.
There's definitely some. If you see the movie, I'd highly recommend seeing the musical. It's a little not as dark as the movie can get. But also at the end we have a huge mega mix and everybody dances.
Let me ask you this. We always talk about this. You, in my head, right, and this is I feel like a lot of my generation feels this way, is you book your first Broadway show, and you're once I book Broadway, I get all the answers. All of my questions are answered and everything. I get it all. And I guess I can accept that that's not the way that it is.
Right. Yeah.
What do you do post Broadway as a post first Broadway show as a sustenance thing, right? You just hit the pavement again? Do you how much does that open your opportunity? Things like that.
I mean, it certainly opens an opportunity there because you can use it on your resume. It's I'm on a Broadway show, so people begin to depend on you. If they see that label, they depend you must know the quality
Yeah.
of what it is to be on Broadway.
Standard,
There's a
yeah.
lot of money. There's a lot of people who are working for a common goal. Big directors, choreography has to be at a certain level, or at least we hope so.
Right.
So there is a certain, I don't know, set standard
Yeah.
for a Broadway show. You're expecting something from it.
Right. You said right after
Critics aside.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah.
you're able to at least have that on your resume, and people can sort of go like, "Oh, congratulations, you've done the Broadway thing." So
Yeah.
maybe that just elevates your resume to
Right.
be like, okay, well, we'll see that person
Yes.
for such
Right.
and such.
Right. Did you feel like that's what happened with you?
So yeah, I think a little bit, but it's still like until you start to really get a few
Gain some
shows
traction.
under your
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
It's
So you went into the tour right after doing the Broadway production.
yeah, jumped in the tour for a little bit, but I was also did something down in Philadelphia in between there,
Gotcha.
and once you start working with a certain network of people, that's
build
it. That's it.
You build your network. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Altar Boys, because you did Altar Boys in 2005, and Altar Boys is one of the wackiest, weirdest, so fun. You originated Altar Boys, am I
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
I
is
played
so fun.
Luke.
Yeah.
Luke in our director Stafford Arima asked us to come up with like our full names, and I was like Luke Sky Walker. That's my name. So I don't know if anybody else has chosen that name for their Luke, but it was a really like, it was great to be in something that was so inventive and had a certain vibe about it, and I didn't know how like big it was going to
could you
be
have
at the
known?
time. Like
Yeah.
it became sort of an off-Broadway sensation that ran for years.
Yeah, it was like a super
and then
culty.
went to Korea and it's had its tours, and I'm sure
Yeah.
it's popping up everywhere in like houses. They have, it's being licensed to every theater around the world.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it was just like, it was a beautiful thing because it was sort of my first experience in becoming a ensemble of guys that have to depend on each other, and a brotherhood, and
Right.
and so the efforts were there was no weak link. There was always like, we were always in support of the band and the idea of the band to make it further, and it was so well written. Kevin DeLagula, who wrote it, is also like a Broadway star as well. So
I didn't know that he wrote that.
he wrote that.
Oh,
He's a
wow.
great writer, an incredible writer,
He
really
was just
funny
in,
human
like,
being.
Schmigadoon. He was just in Schmigadoon. He was in Some Like It Hot. He's awesome. He's awesome. Yellow face. He's awesome.
on top of being a really nice guy, he is an
He's
incredible
comedy
writer,
gold, yeah.
and he's a comedy gold on stage. So
that's awesome. And you guys developed, there was this Altar Boys fan base that became like a boy band, like a true boy band. Like,
Yeah,
you
it was
guys had
wild.
people at the stage door, like, you know.
Well, here's how it happens. I think Ken Davenport, who was the producer, took a note from how do you make a boy band and how do you make them famous.
Right.
So you have to gain followers. So he would offer tickets to young people to come see the show and like be the fans of the Altar Boys, as though if we were a real band.
Yeah.
And they did it. They came in, they were getting free tickets, or they would come see it again and again. They'd get obsessed with it. Who's your favorite boy band? Who's your favorite guy in the group? It was really like a smart way of going about bringing a fake Christian boy band.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. That was so cool.
Have its an album and have followers and things like that. It was a really interesting time and a really interesting space to be in, good friends to be with, and we all still keep in contact to a degree.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So then you jump to Blonde, which Blonde is huge. Legally Blonde was a huge. It still is a huge sensation show. That is like, I feel like such an iconic role of yours. I mean, like I've got a package like that. Is like, it's become a huge thing. You know what I mean? Talk about how you booked Blonde.
Jerry Mitchell saw Altar Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
cool.
He was like, that guy, I want to work with that guy. So I've had a few people in my life that like notice something about me that they like. I don't know, it's their personal preference, whatever. Jerry Mitchell's just a great human being, and if he sees something that he likes, he will immediately like snatch you. I want you to be part of the show, or like come audition. So he just asked me to do one of the workshops, and
and were you always doing that track?
I was always doing the UPS guy, and all three of those characters I was always doing. But they used to do on top of that. There was during some of the workshops during Elle's submission to Harvard. She would like pulled down a screen of celebrity endorsements.
Oh, funny.
And so I voiced all these people like, it's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, listen to me now. Elwood's going to be the greatest person that you ever had in Harvard. Deal with her. Get to the chopper.
That's actually really good.
And then, yeah, we've got more to talk about there. And then I was like, Jack
funny.
Nicholson, listen, what does he say? He says, you want to know the truth? You can't handle the truth. Get Elwoods into your school. And I think there was one other impersonation. We were just trying stuff out. There were so many things you try out in those workshops and how they work. And there was different songs, different ideas. The UPS guy, they constantly try to give me a monologue at the end of the show about
They
love.
a song?
No song.
They would have had they known how iconic that
they
part
would. They wanted me to
man.
go into this like hallmark speech about love and like love is. But I would say something about that. Sort of like give the UPS perspective on what he thinks about love. And we tried that out in previews, and I was like, I just kept going back to them and saying like, I don't think you need to hear from this guy. Just a few lines. Like it's going to be all about his package. It's going to be all about the outfit, and it's going to be about him being this hero of love for a character that is looking for her lost love. Paulette's looking for her one true love, and this guy just swoops in out of nowhere and is the perfect match. And of course they do an Irish dance together. So.
Which is perfect. Can you talk about the MTV, the search for Elwood's thing, and like how much that boosted the show and the energy of all that stuff? Yeah. You were still in it at the time when they were doing it. One of the producers, Amanda, and I can't remember her last name, but look it up. Let's see, Amanda on. I think she had a connection of MTV, and it was her really brilliant idea of calling in MTV and getting the Hills. I don't know, they don't have the Hills anymore. You may not know who the Hills are. These are the girls. These was like a reality show back in the day. Okay. And Amanda Lipitz, is that what it is? That's what it is. Amanda Lipitz. Give
Smart.
yourself more credit.
Yeah, it takes time to like. There's so many shows.
So it's just so many shows.
It just takes a moment where I'm like, I'm terrible with name, great with faces. So even when I'm on stage, I'm about to call a different character the wrong name. I'm this close to calling somebody the wrong name on stage. So it just doesn't stick for some reason. It's like you with the hair and the hat. So she had this brilliant idea, Amanda Lipitz, of making that connection. They made a deal and they got MTV to film it. And I thought it was genius because at the time it was like, this is weird. Are we actually doing this? But then it became this incredible thing where they filmed the whole thing. I think we did it like twice. And they had interviews with us backstage, and then it aired on like MTV and YouTube, and everybody's seen a clip, and it has become this sensation. On top of it being a brilliant show, it is a musical theater, a formulaic masterpiece. On top of it being the lyrics and the music are Larry and Nell, who did the music and lyrics, are incredible. Alex Sakamore did some of the arrangements.
Oh, really?
He's from Hamilton. There's so many good people involved in that, and you never saw it coming. And Jerry Mitchell directing, I think his directing debut, and it was
really? I didn't realize that was his debut.
He had done the choreography for Hairspray, so it was his time.
What a way to
shine.
make a name of yourself.
And it just hit. And Laura Bell Bundy being so great. Everybody that was involved with that. We had Leslie Kritzer. We had we had.
And I just think that I'm surprised that idea doesn't happen more often. The search up, because that idea blew up. You had the one that they did for Grease that blew up. Even the one with Roxy Hart that. Emma won for Chicago, that blew up. So I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often. I feel like it builds traction for the show.
It does build traction. It's just very niche. It's like anybody that's in the musical theater would be interested, but it's like getting people who aren't in that area. It's like the millions to watch something like that. So I guess you have to do it like on a smaller scale, stream it, or at least be just a internet following, which could be really let's take advantage of that. But
Christian played the was it Dewey? Yeah. What you want to be?
That's Grandmaster Chad.
Yeah, Grandmaster Chad. That's what it was. And then Dewey as well, right? You did that whole track.
Yes.
It was Legally Blonde Jr.
Of course.
We watched the
MTV.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. Well, because it was also a pro show. You guys filmed the whole. They filmed the whole thing.
Filmed the whole thing.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
It became iconic in that way, and it's just like It's great. It's great to like, and I still do cameos for people that are opening in their high school or starring in it or.
Oh, nice.
And you watch a ton of guys playing the UPS guy. It's just funny. It's just like it's like I was like, listen, it's all about the walk, guys. Make sure you get the walk down.
Yeah, right.
Get the walk and and make the shorts just a little shorter and be perfect.
Yeah, right. Can we talk a little bit about 9 to 5? That was another big show. You originated that. That was like Dolly's involved. That was a big,
Crazy.
all of that stuff. Like, talk to me about the. Did you audition for that?
No, Joe Mantello saw me in Legally Blonde. So this is how things start to happen. This is
it's
what I was saying before.
It's a trickle.
Because people can depend on you. They see your work and they go, oh, that person gets it. They know how to do character work, also be in a musical. Also, like, they have skills. They can dance. They can do the comedy. They can do this. So people go, oh, maybe I'd love to work with him. And my role for 9 to 5 is not in the movie. It's something they created for the show for Allison Janney's character, which, again, I'm working with Allison Janney, Megan Hilty, Stephanie J. Block, Dolly Parton, and
Dolly was really
Joe
involved.
Mantello, who's of Wicked. He directed Wicked. It was heavy hitters in that space, and I was thrilled. So, but also intimidated. Like, how am I going to do scenes with Allison Janney? She, West Wing, like ridiculous. But we became very good friends, and it was great. Like, that was like one of those times where she actually like helped me in some of the scenes, like, because my character was not written for the movie. Again, it was, and the screenplay was written. The musical book was written by the same person who did the screenplay. So it's like she was finding ways for it to fit, and she gave me new jokes, and I try new bits, and it's like we got something.
Dolly was super involved, right?
Super involved. She was there almost every day, and then every preview she was there, like waiting for us backstage and giving us a high five.
Oh, that's so
cool. I was like,
cool.
are you kidding me? And then right after that, she was just so cool. Right after that, I worked with her on a movie, Joyful Noise. Like, literally in the same year. I worked with Dolly Parton twice.
Oh my gosh,
like, what the hell has happened? Cool. My life was
Did you get that through that too, or no?
It was the director of that film had seen me in a couple of different things, and he's like wanted me to audition, and I went into Bernie Telsey's audition for it. They had cameras all set up, and
that movie's become iconic in its own right.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's another like cult vibe. Like who gets into like movies about gospel Christian
But what's funny is
Jeremy Jordan and Keke Palmer, like and Queen Latifah. Yeah, insane.
So what's funny is like my girlfriend she was in a part of this whole like Christian elementary school and all this other stuff, and they were singing versions of songs from Joyful Noise for like their recitals for their all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's filled with all the tunes. It's got Beatles tunes in it. It's got
that are like rewritten
versions of like
it's things. Such a funny concept. Like
it's like Stevie Wonder. So they take all those songs and then they sort of gospelized them.
That's like it's so cool. Let me jump to Jersey Boys. You do Jersey Boys at the August Wilson. I still associate August Wilson with Groundhog Day. It feels weird not seeing Groundhog Day in there, especially the way they've revamped it for Cabaret now. I mean, it's like bizarre. But I want to talk about Jersey Boys because you also did Jersey Boys Live.
Yes.
With Nick Jonas and
we
Sergio.
Did. We filmed it. It's sitting on a shelf somewhere.
That's what I mean. Like, what's going on with Jersey?
What's going on?
Nick Jonas is in you. Like,
maybe we'll get the answers now that we're doing this. No, I've talked to them. They're still interested in bringing it out. But I think here's the thing. As I said, with like niche versions of televised things about musicals, is that it's a smaller amount of the population that's interested in that, and like how do you gain interest? And so even something like Hamilton that was filmed for Disney, they didn't get it's not the global traction that you get, and Hamilton is a global thing. It's like how do you they weren't getting the I guess the reception that they wanted. So we were at the tail end of a couple of different musicals that had just been put on.
I was gonna say like Come From Away. There was a couple. Waitress just released theirs on Max, and
so we had Jersey Boys with Nick Jonas. Like, this is bound to go on streaming. This has got to happen, and I don't know. It's like some deals just never happen. So I mean,
at least not yet. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who did you play on Broadway? In Jersey Boys.
In Jersey Boys, same role, Tommy DeVito.
You played Tommy in both?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. That's awesome. Did you book this Jersey Boys Live? How'd you book this Jersey Boys Live?
From being in that show a couple different times, I did it for a year. Okay. I did Jersey Boys on Broadway for a year. Took a little break to do...
Drood.
Thank you for knowing that. It's made better than I do. And then went back into Jersey Boys before doing Rocky again. So I had 2 different stints with Jersey Boys because I truly, it's such a good show.
Yeah.
The script is one of the greatest scripts of a quote unquote jukebox musical that there is.
And it set a precedent for most jukebox musicals that are. I mean, like even if you look for certainly for Ain't Too Proud or a bunch of the Beautiful or a lot of those
incredible
shows.
Yeah. So you're looking at that formula. How does it work? And you have to tell the story, but also take the music and utilize it well without trying to make the music be too much of a storytelling element with pop music.
Right.
If you try, it's really interesting doing Moulin Rouge right now. It's like it works because they know how to ride the line with the show, and because the movie was set up in a way that it does that. But Jersey Boys was like this. The music functioned usually as their next big hit was, and they turned to to do the concert, and you feel like you're at a Four Seasons concert.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so many fans that are there.
That music
which is
means so
the other
much.
thing I was thinking. It was like Jersey Boys, or at least the music of the Four Seasons, is so widely popular. I'm surprised they haven't released
It's a movie.
The movie, because it does break borders as far as people knowing that music and certain demographics of people that know that music, and certainly in the tri-state area it used to be huge. Anyway, that was playing Tommy DeVito was a great experience. I loved it.
Awesome.
That role also gave me the confidence to be a lead in a show.
I was just saying, and vocally, that's a tricky show too.
It is, but it was. You have to have it all. You have to be able to dance, but you also have to like deliver the charm of a guy who's quote unquote the bad guy of the group, and the owning the audience at a certain point, because you do have to monologue to the audience to fill them in with what's going on, and making a connection between all of that. That is another level of acting that I hadn't done before. So it was like bringing the audience in, and so that became, if I'm having a good time, they're having a good time, and they have to believe me, and everybody, and what I have to say has to be elementally true, and I have to believe that in my soul as I'm being that character, instead of just saying lines.
Yeah, right, for sure. So let's talk about Drood. I specifically want to talk about the all-star cast that you guys had. I mean, it's riches. I mean, you had SJB was in that. You had, you were in that. You had Cheetah Rivera.
Cheetah freaking Rivera, yeah.
I mean, like
Betsy Wolf, Will Chase.
Right. And such a cool concept for a show is that the idea of the show is that there's like 6 different endings.
Yeah, well, it's 6. It's got to be like 6 or 20.
Yeah, right.
There's 100 different versions of how things play out at the end.
Because it was never finished. The idea is that the book was never.
Yeah, and believe me, it's just as confusing to a lot of the people who haven't done it before to as it was to me when I booked the shows.
Right.
Scott Ellis, who directed it at the Roundabout, and he's over there still as artistic director for the moment.
Yeah.
A really great guy. These people see something and they're like, I want you to come in for this role. I originally auditioned for Will Chase's role, and it wasn't kind of like fitting, and then he's like, what do you think about this role? I'd be really interested in this role. So Neville Landless, and finding that moment and working with Jessie Mueller as my sister, and that was like truly so much fun. And everybody was just there's so much talent and so much character work, and then becoming friends with Cheetah Rivera. I had originally seen him when I was on the tour with Tommy a million years ago. I was in San Francisco, and she was doing Kiss of the Spider Woman in San Francisco at the same time. So I had a day where I could go see the show, and I got her autograph, got a picture with her, and I had that picture for such a long time. And then years and years and years later, working with her and becoming friends with her, and it's like she came to Groundhog Day. She's seen me in all the stuff I did her concert with her at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. That's right. That was pretty shortly before she passed, right?
Probably concert was a couple of years, but
before COVID.
Yeah, I was like, that was the saddest. Like that was a true loss for our industry.
Yeah.
Cheetah Rivera is like a staple of. If just YouTube her, if you haven't watched her enough, look at all the stuff that she's done. She's an incredible dancer, incredible actress, singer,
She just wrote a book.
Just huge. Just the charm out out the wazoo, like, and so sweet and nice.
I'd met her once, and she was the sweetest person. But also, we had a guest, our tap teacher, Mary Six, who did can with her in Japan, and same thing. She just said she was like this, like super professional. She was always at the theater early, stretching, doing her thing, and 80
years old, and she could still kick.
She was
do
remarkable,
splits, and she was. This is the thing that she loved. I mean, if that's what it comes with. That's the inspiration of musical theater, because it's this art form that requires so much of you on the stage. And look at the people that are dedicated that way. The length of their career is not just because they're lucky, it's because they put in the time.
Right.
And they know they have a next level thing to do, and they know the commitment it takes to do 8 shows a week. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. And there's a certain type of mentality, a certain type of love for what we do. That people have longevity.
Right, yeah, totally. So right after that, I think you booked what became like the biggest thing of your career at that point, which was Rocky. And
Rocky was
that
cool.
was, I mean, talk to me about how you booked that first, because I've heard you tell this story. I think it's crazy, and also it's just like the breadth of who's going to be Rocky on Broadway is massive.
Well, yeah, I first heard the audition from my agents, and I was like, is this a joke? Are they going to make Rocky a musical? Like, how's this guy who talks like this, how's he going to sing all this? How's he going to, and he's going to like punch meat? Like, you could definitely parody the idea.
Yeah, right.
And I thought that originally they were like, no, they're doing this. Stallone is involved, and it's going to be a great team of people. Aaron Flaherty writing the music. I was like, okay.
Geniuses, pillars of musical theater.
I went back and watched the movie, and it's this beautiful, intimate piece about a boxer who's like down on his luck, but he finds love, and love is what actually gives him the courage to, stand up and do the thing that he's most scared of, and that's face the biggest fighter in the world. Like, he doesn't even believe in himself until he has love, until something. Right. So he's this guy who's like, humble, but also like, uneducated. It's the greatest underdog,
right?
Huge underdog story. So I was like, oh wait, there's something to this. So got the script and got the sides, and what do you sing? They're gonna go like a little rock music with this. I think I sang Dark Side from Eddie and the Cruisers or something.
Nice.
And I just immediately connected with it, with the role as like how to play it. Like, I watched the movie, I could tell, I could sort of emulate what he was doing, and like, how am I going to talk? But it was, I sent in my first taped audition, and I sent it in, and this was way before we were doing self tapes all the time.
Right.
I sent it in, and it was like on a maybe like 16 kilobytes or something that I sent, and it was like they could only see like a 2-inch screen on a computer, and they're like looking at my audition like this. They're like, all right,
this is Andy Karl.
Maybe,
okay, this is.
Maybe we'll see him.
Yeah,
and then I got to go in and really connect with the piece, and so that was it. And then we did the workshop of it. That was just for the workshop that was we did at Juilliard, one of their rooms, and did it. And Stallone flew in to come see the workshop, and he gave me the thumbs up, like he approved, and I was like,
that's crazy. That is so crazy. How did you go about the voice? I mean, how do you even go about finding that voice?
I think I naturally sit low, and I've always been a baritone, but but in some things, like I did this show called On the Record. It was a Disney tour that it was a bunch of their music. Yeah. So I took all the bass lines of stuff. Yeah. And Technicolor pachyderms are really too much for me.
And that's gonna be like perfect on you're listening to in your headphones. For those who are listening to their headphones, really, that's like so soothing.
Yeah, it's like
bass voices.
It's the bass voice that I have, and like obviously we have to be chameleons in musical theater because
you
all
also
this
have
stuff is also like
stuff too.
You do rock tenor stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it was just I just had to work and keep speaking low. And I was actually doing the show, and then somebody told me, it's like, I wasn't actually doing the Stallone voice for like the first dress rehearsal. I was maybe speaking maybe low, but I was not like going into the draw and doing all that stuff. And this person knew that I could do that voice.
Yeah.
She do it. Why aren't you doing the voice? And so next day I was like, yo, Adrian, how you doing? I started doing talking like this, and just, I'm not too shy myself, and it helped. It just made me like slip into it and hunch the shoulders over, and 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 constant workouts every day. And it
I was
was
going to say, what about that? Can you talk about how, so essentially what had happened was you booked the workshop, you do the workshop, get the green light, but then it went to Germany.
Went to Germany. Somebody else was playing it there because it was all in German, and they wanted somebody else to actually speak the language.
What was the idea behind sending it over there if it was already doing it?
The producers, big producers from Hamburg, they had a big theater to do it there, and they were getting funding from there. And
I guess they have a huge scene over there.
Yeah, in Hamburg. That's where some shows can take off.
Yeah. Tarzan for one.
Yeah. There you go.
Tarzan had no life here, but they became a huge German hit.
They love a musical, and I've almost gone over there once or twice to work, but some things always happen. But there's always been, it's just the fact that they love it over there. Yeah. So it went over there, played over there, and did well. They at least worked out some of the ideas and the kinks, and that was Alex Timbers directing, who also is directing Moulin Rouge, that I'm doing right now.
And he's doing Just in Time tonight.
Just in Time tonight. Yep. And he's a man who's very smart and very he's got a very creative brain. Yeah. Including the Rocky set, which was insane.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I think they needed to test some place where it didn't. It was a little bit cheaper, I would imagine, to build the sets and try them out and see if they actually worked. Yeah. It may be more cost effective, or they had more of the funding over there. So.
Were you worried that you were going to get the gig when they brought it back?
Yeah, I was like, I once I got the taste for it in the workshop, and Stallone was like, I like this guy, and I felt like I am this role. This is. And it wasn't just like, oh, this is a role I can make my mark in. It was like, no, this is a role I will work harder than I have ever worked for anything in my life. I'll get into the depths of this, and physically, mentally, it'll be something that I really will enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I think it was before Alex Timbers was even directing it.
Oh wow.
This was like so it was like new director, new production. Gosh. It's going away. I worried about that for a year. I was constantly in my head for a year of like, I gotta make sure that they know I want to do this gig. So, when it came back around to audition, Alex was like, you actually don't have to audition. Like, I think they knew what I could do. And I was like, no. I have to go in and audition. Yeah. So, and during that year, I had gotten a trainer. I'm like, this is how badly I wanted that role.
Yeah, of course.
I was just like, I'm going to train. I'm going to show them that physically I can do it. I'm going to show them that I'm better than anyone at this role. I mean, not that there's better than anyone. It's just I want to be the best choice.
Right.
So, when it come back around, I auditioned again and auditioned with several people for Adrian. Jesse Mueller was one of the people that I auditioned for as well. So
wow.
It's one of those, it's curious, like, how is it chosen and who works with what. And Jesse was great. It's just like you never know. You leave that up to the creatives to make. But yeah, when I got that call, I was really like, yes,
relieved. Yeah, and that was your first Tony on.
Yeah, that was first Tony.
I think that talk to me a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit about Tonys and award stuff because there's a lot of, and Brad Oscar was talking about this too, is like there's a lot of sensationalism and there's a lot of press and there's a lot of all of this stuff that so I guess talk to me about the publicity aspect of not only the Tonys but all awards, you dramatize. I mean all the award season really.
Yeah, it's insane. It's not for the lighthearted because doing something like Groundhog Day was just exhausting constantly. Right. Anyway, and I hurt my leg like right during that season.
I mean, that's the story.
I was like managing so much of my life on top of managing,
But even in Rocky, you got hurt in Rocky too, didn't you?
Yeah, it was exhausting. It was. I got hurt. I got punched in the face. I ended up with like black eyes or like with things that were just strained, but not actual breakage. Right. But that when you're doing something so enormously physical as 8 shows a week, as we all know, is exhausting, and on top of having to do all that press, on top of having to wake up early and do an interview, and it's I will do that. Yeah. But my big lesson that I learned, and it was especially during Groundhog Day, is that I don't want to lose sight of how wonderful it is to be in a show that could be in that realm, and the people around me that are working hard to do it, and the moment that I can take with my cast and with what I'm actually doing for a living. What matters is that this production has to be, has to have all of me. Right. And I don't want to give the like. I don't want to give any of that up for an interview or shaking hands with somebody or going down a press line, because if I'm not appreciating the thing that I'm in, then I'm losing that when I get to the other side of when everything, all the Tony stuff goes away and no one cares anymore. You're like, oh, I missed that connection with all my cast members. I missed that connection and having the best time of my life with the show that I'm doing. Yeah. So my fortunate thing, especially after Groundhog Day, we're doing it here, and it was such a difficult time to just get through with the show, but I loved it so much that 6 years later we did it again in London and revived it, and I the lesson that I learned was fully implemented, and all I did was enjoy the time, and I enjoyed the time with the audience, and it made the show better. It made it like, I thought the show was brilliant, but it's like it made my performance better, but it also made the show shine like the way that it should, and that is, if there's anything I can tell anyone, all this stuff that you could do it, have the press, have the fun, have the Tony Awards, that stuff, but never forget that the people that you're working with and the show that you're doing it's going to be gone before you know it, and if you miss out on the opportunity of enjoying it, and because you're looking this way or being tired over an interview or being tired of while you're chasing something down the street, then it's gonna be gone before you know it. So
that's what Groundhog Day is about.
It is exactly what the show is about.
I learned my lesson.
Exactly what the show is about. And we're building to Groundhog Day. I have literally two more things. I want to talk about 20th Century because that show is so brilliant. That show I watched all these bootlegs, right? I researched you from Groundhog Day, and then I was like, I watched the bootlegs. But I found listen, it was closed at that point. I couldn't see it. So I watched a Rocky bootleg. I watched 20th Century bootleg, and I was like, and I discovered these shows, and I know these shows now. And like, to be honest with you, I add them to my rep. We did mine at a concert. Yeah, because that show's. I thought that show was so smart.
I was just thinking about that show yesterday. I posted something on Instagram from that.
Yes, that's right. Because it was just 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so to you and Peter Gallagher and Kristen Chenoweth, I mean, like, talk, and you're getting to do this big bravado, I mean, like, it's so, that's
full physical stuff, and Kevin Kline originated it, and he's just like an icon to me, so, being able to do that role, it was,
who directed that show?
Scott Ellis again.
Oh, he did.
He was a roundabout, and he's like, again, somebody who would see me in something, and then he worked with me, and he's working with me again, which, in these great roles that can have their little standout moment. It was my second Tony nomination and first Drama Desk win. Did I win for them? I think I might. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. The awards, who cares? Sure. As long as you're enjoying the show.
So many shows.
It was just another group of amazing people, and Roundabout is the theater company is so good to their actors and to the people that are around. I mean, it's sort of like it's a place where you're doing short runs, and nobody's getting paid astronomical amounts of money, so we're all doing it because we love it, and because we want to be a part of Roundabout, which just puts on incredible productions. Everything I see there, I'm always like blown away.
Right.
So just stepping into that role that I knew was so physical and so silly, I was like, I just did Rocky. It was kind of serious, and now I'm getting to do like this comedy.
This big like
this is what a great way to offer up, like, oh guys, I do this too, and and to be, I don't know, respected in that way by people hiring me for it, and by the community sort of accepting that. I was like, that's a big thing for me. A little, just some respect for to be amongst the people like my icons, like Nathan Lane, and like,
for sure,
it's like these people are incredible, and I'm to be in that world is I know what level I need to be at.
Right, yeah, totally. I know you first and foremost from SVU. You talk about traction, talk about how like reaching millions of, like, little did I was watching SVU. She was Olivia's niece on SVU.
Oh, nice.
As like a 9-month-old baby. And I've been watching SVU since before I was born. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's on all the time.
Yeah, and I'm an avid viewer. Like every week I'm watching the show. And so when you had booked Ground, I'm like, oh, my God, Mike Dodds from
Mike Dodds.
SVU is going to be the lead of Groundhog Day. Talk to me about SVU. That feels like a big part of your fan base knows you from SVU.
It's interesting. It's like I have a lot of people that know me from theater.
Yeah.
I mean, but then I'll see things on like Instagram comment or something, or people come to the stage door or something. It's like, and we signed this, and they're holding like Mike Dodds stuff, and it's like it's all they want to know the whole world of SVU. It's very ingrained into their world, and
for sure.
You know, they grow up
and
with
global.
Yeah, it's huge, and certainly when like I just finished the last scene, and then 2 weeks later I flew to go to London for Groundhog Day, and I show up in like a FedEx to send something home, and the guy who's at the counter is like, SVU. I was like,
that's crazy.
I'm in London,
right.
and that's happening. So,
right.
God bless television, and that show in particular is
sure.
just such an enormous hit. So I did a nice season with that with Peter Gallagher, who I was doing on the 20th Century with.
Right.
So
how did you book that?
That was because because Peter is already on SVU at some point.
Yeah.
The showrunner.
Warren
Light, thank you. I was gonna say White, but
so we're bringing it up a lot, but he wrote Just in Time. He's the book writer on Just in Time.
It's
all great.
These are all these people who are sort of in the theater. If you're in New York, you're in the entertainment business, you watch theater, you watch television, you write on things. So he had come and seen us on the 20th Century, and he had seen me, I think, in Rocky. He just they just gave me a shot.
Oh, really?
You know, to come in, they gave me 3 episodes at the original start. He's like, you'll do these 3 episodes. So they, as the writers on television shows, they can easily write you in, but they can easily write you out. Yes. It's like, if it's not working, that first episode and the second episode, third episode, let's just, kill him, or maybe not kill him, but just write him out like he's got other things to do.
Well, the thing about SVU, especially under Warren Light, is that nobody died. Nobody died. Warren Light's big thing was that nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
And so your whole season is like we're building up, and this guy comes in and he's kind of like cocky and whatever, and then we grow to like love him because he's learning and he's doing the thing. Funny, and I don't know if you know this, I did background on SVU, and I was a wrestler. And I was a wrestler, one of the wrestlers who, like, I don't know, somebody in our squad gets raped. And so and I have a video of it somewhere. I'll put it on the pod at one point. And it's you scrolling, and you're like, so do you guys recognize any of these guys? And it's one, and then it's me.
Boom.
And it's like, boom. And it's like me wrestling.
Worlds colliding. Worlds colliding.
It's just a funny little, but
I actually want to see you on television. I
would love to be on television.
No, this is the good stuff. This is great stuff. It's like, just like watching you on your clips and stuff on your website. I'm like, this guy belongs on TV.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Maybe they'll bring me back as the wrestler from SVU.
Yeah.
Maybe that cherished
And now
role.
that wrestler wants to be a cop.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So talk to me about getting killed by Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Amazing death. Why not?
Yeah. Robert is the one who...
No, it was. I found out that was happening. It's like, okay, so the inside story. I was doing good on the show. Everything's going well, but I was always a guest. I was never like a principal cast member, and they were just finishing their season.
Yeah,
I was going all the way season, and I had no idea if they were keeping me on. I didn't know how television worked. They usually at the end of the season they say like, we don't even know if the show's going to go to another season. Yes. They give you a lot of that jazz, and so I was just worried that I had a gig, right? So I'm doing the show and it's great, but like, I need to keep working beyond this. So, and they won't let you know until like after the break or something. So you never know if you're actually getting signed. So everybody's in a worry state, even the crew. Like there's so many people that are hired for a television show, and they all go into a little bit of a panic mode every season.
This time of year. Yeah.
So they're figuring out what they want to do. And for me, low guy on the totem pole, new guy, I'm like, oh, well, if anybody's getting cut from this thing, it's going to be me. Sure. And so I kept asking them if they keep me on. They can't tell me. So Groundhog Day audition came up while we were finishing the last couple of episodes. Yeah. And I went in and auditioned for it. And they were like, just go in and see what happens. And I was like, all right. I felt sort of confident from being on SVU. I was like, I'm a working actor. I'm doing this stuff. But I read that script, and I was kind of blown away by this character, so I was really interested, and so I had a few auditions I had while I was doing SVU at the time, and then actually booked it before my final like episodes, which weren't written yet.
Oh, no way!
And we didn't know how my character was going to stay on or whatever, so I was I had mentioned like I'm gonna go. I've been offered this show. I love SVU. I don't know.
You got to let me know what's going on.
What's going on? Because and they were like, well, you're gonna have to make that decision. That was coming from the NBC people,
Sure.
and I was like, okay. As a scared working actor who only knows what he's gonna do next by every like couple of months,
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna do this amazing show that I've been offered in London as a bucket list. So it was a real it was a conflict for me because I'm like, how do you say SVU like I'm not gonna do you, I'm gonna do this, but as I made the decision, they were like, okay, we're gonna kill you off at the end of the season.
I mean, kind of kismet. Could you imagine you didn't make that decision and then you wound up getting killed off anyway?
And so
I mean,
everything worked out. And certainly that character, which there's never been a squad member that dies.
No.
I think
I don't
maybe there
think
was
so, at
one,
least.
maybe one, but there was certainly it does not happen. It was just
It
being
became
killed
so
by Brad
huge
Garrett.
that subsequently, I was on the set a couple years later, and your picture's still hanging in the precinct.
Yeah,
like they still have like a memorial for you.
A great group of people, and I think the fact that Dodds died a hero's death.
Yeah.
In protection of somebody else, trying to convince somebody not to, to give themselves up. Everything's gonna be okay. Trying to grab the gun and going out doing the service that he did.
Right.
I really like that's a beautiful way of
for sure
like going out.
It's
I
an
suppose.
honorable way to go out.
And in the line of duty, and I think that's something that. If you're not going to have any of your characters die from a police precinct show, then I think you're disservicing the fact that the members of our police squad here in New York face that every day.
Every day, yeah.
Every day, and so it was a matter of like things tragically like that can happen in our police force, and I think that was a good way of maybe showing that, but it was also the connections within the squad that is affecting the father, the people that hired him, the people that are trusting him. They all lose that sense that person in their lives, and how fragile it can be. But also facing that every day, being heroes. So I don't know. That's how I look at it, and I think that's how it should. How I feel like that's how Dodds went.
Yeah. This is a silly insider question, but just because now that Stabler's back, God, what I would do to see you and Chris Maloney in a scene together. But is that a thing that would even be allowed to happen? Or are you kind of like...
I don't know. We assume that Dodds died. We never actually see him die.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. But
they just say that he
Mike
did.
Dodds, you can't be in the Law and Order Reverse anymore, right? Is that like as a different character? Or
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of up to them. But
yeah.
Funny enough, there's like a little reunion. I just did an episode of The Equalizer that aired last night. And I was with Queen Latifah, from Joyful Noise years and years ago. It's wild just to be the people that you end up working with over the years. It's always super surprising to me. I'm always like, what the hell? How did I get here?
Yeah.
But I play an evil guy. I'm in my evil phase. I'm no longer the hero anymore.
Yeah, now you're the antagonist. Yeah. There was just so much to ask Andy. I had to prep 2 pages worth of this. Okay, Groundhog Day. This is what you're all here for. You talked about how Groundhog Day, you were auditioning for Groundhog Day through. I should start with Groundhog Day is probably really speaking, it's probably my favorite show of all time. I mean,
That's
that
fantastic.
and Merrily Roll Along are my 2 favorite shows of all time. And what I've realized about those 2 shows and what I love about the 2 of them is time and this theme of time that and when I was a kid, I saw you in it, I remember thinking this is seriously, I don't know, probably my 8th or 9th Broadway show of all time. And I'm watching it and I'm going I've never seen anything like this. What you were doing was kind of an Olympic event.
Yeah.
And you're doing comedy, you're basically doing stunts and you're doing major choreography, and I'm not going to say it's the you show, but it is centered around Phil Connors. It's centered around you. I guess talk to me about the Olympic event that it is, that Groundhog Day is.
I think I was up for the challenge. I was like, I did Rocky. I was like, I can handle stuff. I didn't know how, what was really the Olympic process was just the complex idea of time and switching and coming back into a scene and having a different intention, or knowing that the scene is now being played this way, but now I can get the advantage of it. It was a matter of solving problems constantly. Right. And most of it was prop centered. That I had to have certain things in certain pockets and certain outfits that broke away and certain things that were just a complex version of getting through a show that has to be super complex, and it has to go through time, and in an instant it has to reverse itself and come back.
And don't even get us started on those damn turntables.
Yeah, and that was the added plus from Matthew Warchus's brain, the director. He added 5 turntables on the stage that essentially worked like a clock, so he could reverse them, he could make them go forward, he could have them spinning in different ways at different times. They were utilized to move set pieces and make it cinematic. There were some just beautiful things, but when we did it in London for the revival and in Australia, eventually the turntables were gone and you didn't even miss them. It's like one of those things they spent so much time
Did you guys have the turntables in the original London production?
Yeah. And
okay.
It was like then they brought the set over.
Did you do a workshop of it beforehand or no?
No. It was Nick Cordero, who had tragically lost his life during COVID, had done a lot of the workshops.
Oh, really?
In London,
and that's funny. And you did the workshops for his part in Waitress.
Yeah, it's a very
That's so funny.
I have demos of Nick singing some of the songs from Groundhog Day, and it's haunting to hear him hear that. It's like one of those things where you're like, wow, this is, to share I would guess a role or a part of a life through that. And we had met on several different occasions, and then to realize that somebody's gone, that but also to hear the voice that is still out there. It's kind of, it's wild. It's wild.
Wild.
In any case, ended up doing the London version with the turntables and the Broadway version with the turntables. And it was just like, all I'm going to do is be the person that's going to solve as many problems as I can. And I think that's part of our job as an actor is you've got to find the character. You've got to know what blocking is going to go into, what choices you need to make, what elements they're going to throw at you, what you need to learn. Like to become a boxer in Rocky, I went and studied. I went to the gym and became a boxer. I got taught how to fight with my left hand, and so it was southpaw fighting. It's like that's what I do. It's like if there's something that's specific about the character, let's learn it. If there's something specific about the show, let's learn it. There's never not a learning process, and to be open to that.
How much did you learn about being a meteorologist?
Like not much, really. And I I think there's that much in the job.
No, I don't
I'm sorry,
so
meteorologists out there.
Yeah,
you read off a cue card, and you're told.
I mean, we have an app now.
Yeah,
so,
we have apps.
Don't mean to diss the job.
Yeah, but they hold on to their jobs. I went to Australia and did an interview at a news station, and they had me like go and do the weather report section. But the other guy who's the normal meteorologist, I could tell he was a little tense about it. He didn't say, "This is my job, and I don't want somebody making fun of my job." And so he was like rushing me along and not letting me joke, and I was like, "Okay, all right." So don't mess with a meteorologist's job.
Listen, we love meteorologists on this show.
That's
okay?
right.
So yeah. Anyway, Mr. G was big for me when I was a kid. That was my big meteorologist. You know Mr. G, Pix 11 News.
Pix 11.
Yeah. Anyway, so talk to me about London versus Broadway, because here's the thing: the cast recording comes out. We were doing 9 to 5 actually when the cast in high school, and the cast recording comes out of Groundhog Day, and we then we see the show. There's so many differences. Because I imagine so much changed from London to Broadway. I mean, not enough differences that it's a different show. I just mean like little nuances, particularly in the opening number. Yeah. Small Town USA is a lot of differences, lyrical things, or things like that. I guess talk to me about how much changed from London to Broadway.
It was for me. I don't remember it being that much of a change. I remember there being changes from Broadway to the revival, where we tightened things up. It got better. It was like my attitude was better about it. It's like it became like it became better at what it was trying to do, and that's time and funny and telling a story and edit around it, not over service the piece, keep it for what it is, bring a lot of the stuff downstage so they could see the characters, because everybody in that show, every character that's in that show has a story to tell, which is one of the great things about Groundhog Day. You follow people through their time period, but you also learn more about the guy who's eating the chicken. You understand why he's eating chicken. There's a lyric that comes in later, and you start to understand, like, because you get the repetition happening, and they show a little different nuance in themselves the next time, or a different part of the day that they're in.
And that's one day. I think one day is one of the best Act 1 closers I've ever. listen to, especially lyrically. It is so meaty. It is so everything. And to be quite frank with you, listening to that song, listening to Rita's lyric in that song, I could recite the whole thing. It's that bad. I mean, like, really. And I do it a lot. And I've been like, I look at that and I go like, oh man, I almost use it as this like weird, I emulate it in terms of who I want to be. Mm-hmm. Like this way of like she talks about, and it's like, some of it is a little Mr. Perfect, but I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh yeah, and his body would be toned with those pecs that you get at the gym, but he won't spend all his time at the gym, and he'll love reading books. He'll be an excellent cook. I'm like, okay, I have to read books, and then
these are the things that you learn.
I'll cook.
The irrational, unreasable list of things
I'll do that.
Should be.
Yeah.
And these are all good things. It's a great song for anybody that's singing that song. It really like it talks about the incessant thing that goes in your head, like what am I looking for? What is the standard? But also what is the best version of something that I want to be? But are those things really attainable?
Right.
And
it's that part where she goes, and his
she's
eyes will be
contradicting.
brown or blue or green. Well, I don't care. And I was like, well, phew, because that can't change.
I had a response to almost every lyric that she said.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
Don't know what to wear, and a full head of hair. I was like, it's like it was every line she had. I was like, I'm gonna be your perfect guy, because that's what I was trying to be.
Right.
And it ended up not being like him constantly. And this is something that you're talking about. It's like, what am I gonna become? Like the perfect guy. And so Phil had a chance to like, okay, next day I'll add this to the list. I'll be this. Right. I'll be the perfect version of this for that person. And what ends up inevitably happening is that it's not about those things. It is about, can you be open to a conversation? Can you want to know those things, but also offer of yourself something that is genuinely going to add to somebody's life? And I think that's what Phil finds out when the thing that you love most about that One Day song at the end, when everybody's telling the stories and Phil's not listening. He hears it all and it all sounds like noise to him. That's why he's so annoyed. He's like, shut up about the chicken, like, go away. And he can't stand it anymore. It is only until the second act when he listens to Rita, who is actually the person that saves him. She's just like, why don't you just look at life a little bit differently? Why don't you try to accept those things and try to change something about yourself to add to something in someone's life? What are they needing? If that person is like, I don't know, having a tough day, can you just find it in yourself for 1 second to help them on their day? Right. And he begins to like that and builds bigger portions of his life for himself, and to be of use for people and to add to other people's life. And that is what she inevitably falls in love with, is that he's a person that genuinely wants to be present, and he genuinely wants to help, and that we're all looking for that connection in our lives.
Yeah, it's a beautiful show, and I imagine that's what keeps you drawn to doing it. Like, you did it in London, you brought it to Broadway. It should have had a longer run. It should have been more successful. It should have toured the way it had planned to tour on Broadway. It's licensed now, so regionals. Come on, I'm your guy. Your guy.
I've done the cameos.
But yeah, and then you did it in London again, and you did it in Australia. Talk to me about doing the repetition of it, right? There's something that's like strangely Meisner about doing all this stuff and like super like diving into the repetition of like, how do I change this every time? Do you get confused have you ever gotten confused in where you are in your fill?
Only like one day when I wasn't feeling very well or something, I was doing a scene, but never. It's more like I know, because each scene is actually, there's a new intention for each scene. So I have to enter the scene, maybe it's repeating itself the exact same way 3 times in a row. Yeah. I'm entering the scene with an intention, and usually that connects me to the lines, that connects me to whatever I need to go, whatever my next thought is, and my next response. It's only in rehearsals when you have to like go back, like, okay, let's do day 2 the second time, and you're like, what's the line again? Like how do you? But linearly, I never got off track. It was one of those stories that was so important to me to keep telling correctly, because the end result of every day is you get the joke at the end, or you get the experience at the end. And I knew how important that was. It was like you need to set up the thing for the big thing to drop. So I was always constantly like, I want to do this today. I'm going to do this today. New thing. I found nuances in it all the time. I was always playing with people on stage. I was always witnessing something new, and doing the show in different incarnations and watching other people do it was finding something new all the time. So it was a beautiful, weird, repetitious experience.
I have to ask you about what are the changes in London? I didn't get to see this new London production, and I know that there have been like the fried chicken guys changed, right? I mean that whole sequence in One Day is different.
Yeah, he's it just little nuances. They wanted to change it. They wanted to, like, they realized some of the characteristics of some people were like maybe not so savory. There was a scene where it was like I convince the girl to, like, go sleep with me or something in the first act. And we had this whole, like, walk of shame thing that she did that was like, it was a little unsavory for audiences. It was let's just not. We don't have to go there.
How far do you go in terms of making him a bad guy in the beginning to make him honorable at the end? How much can you forgive him at the end?
I think really successfully we found that in the show, and we pushed it in, like, the London and Broadway version. And I thought for myself, going to the dark side was like, let's go dark so he has the retribution.
Right.
But it was like we're good. We're good with what we're telling, because you can tell this person just doesn't really care about people. And so when you get that involved, and then he learns his lesson, or he's constantly making fun of things, or saying things about a town that he doesn't truly love or believe in, or an experience that he's not having a good time with. Everybody's sort of been there. Everybody knows how, like, I got to go do this thing again for the 4th year in a row. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do this. And, it makes you question that at the end of the day. You're like, wait a minute, actually, like, I should be so grateful that I get to do these things.
Right.
So there were little nuances and little changes, but it's really interesting. I'm working, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm working on this Hallmark film that I created, and there's writers on it who are doing a great job with it's sort of like a Christmas Carol on a plane type thing. And they wrote it very funny, and they have this one character who's like the Scrooge character, and making her a little dark, but it doesn't work for Hallmark. Essentially, you have to ease them in, and you have to be careful with the brand. And in doing that, I was like, oh, that's gonna suck. They're not gonna get enough out of Scrooge, the Scrooge character, to make the retribution at the end work. But as I was looking at it, I was like, oh, they peeled back some of the. She's still snarky, but it's not like dark. But you get it. You know who that character is. And
interesting.
So depending on, like, what type of medium you're in, how far you're going to go, and how is it helping the story, I think those little nuances that we changed in Groundhog Day, like, they mattered. They took some of the stuff that seemed like it was good at the time, and it didn't really have.
It just made it more more of a punch.
Yeah, I think just taking away those revolves was like, oh, did we need them? Did we need to spend those months working on these revolves, and me like tripping over myself for hours and days, and then the cast, like, not knowing what direction they're facing? Did we need to have all that?
Yeah.
No.
Probably.
And it was, I'm sure, a big expense and a lot of time.
Because we can't talk about Groundhog Day and your experience without talking about it. You have to tell the ACL story.
Yeah.
It was the story that you told on Stephen Colbert. I know that this is a bigger deal, though. This podcast is bigger than Stephen Colbert. I'm better than Stephen Colbert.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. There we have it. He just said it.
We're
gonna tag it now. So tell me about the moment you're in previews, you're in final previews. This is the Tonys thing. This is right before opening night, and you tear your ACL.
There's so much pressure, and I think that was one of the things the lessons I needed to learn was, like, don't focus on the thing that is, like, outside of you. Focus on the thing that you're doing. And so that's all I could think of. Was like, I'm gonna be the best at something.
Sure.
I'm gonna win.
Sure.
I'm gonna be the best actor that there is on stage, and people are telling me that, and I'm like, I'm still paying attention to all the lessons that are in the show, and I'm telling the story the best I can. I'm being kind, I'm being nice, but in the back of my head, I'm like, this is my time. This is my time. Do it. Now's your time. Like, it didn't happen to Rocky. Now it's gonna happen with this.
Sure.
And when you get into that mentality, something like your ACL tearing. It turns into more of a personal breakdown. I was like, oh my God, everything that I hold value in is just left me. And so my great show, it's 2 nights before opening. How am I going to get through this? I literally limped back out on stage to finish the show.
And this happened towards the tail end.
Yeah, this was right towards. Phil has
10 minutes
finally
before the
found
show
his like ability to help people, and he's doing this big like number where it's a montage of him running around helping people, getting people coffee, getting them what they need, helping somebody who's choking, and it's like this quick montage stuff. And so I'm running constantly back and forth on stage, and I do this one leap over one of the cast members, or a line of cast members, and that's when my ACL tears, and I'm like crawling off stage. We stopped the show. We asked for a doctor in the house, which, when have you ever heard that? Then I had like a few people, Andrew Kahl, who was my cover, but also like a great actor at the time, and he helped me. He's like he's wrapping my leg up, and people are like, I'm still in my outfit. I'm like, are you gonna do the show? I was like, I need to just sit in the air conditioning for 2 seconds. And all this stuff is running in my head, including.
It's like also the worst. I've heard it's the worst pain.
It's not a bad pain. It's just like you lose your ability to stand on this leg because laterally you can't move your leg. It has no support, so you step on it. It just goes to the left and to the right.
Goodness.
Like your leg goes in the position that it's not supposed to go to. And I'm just going over all that stuff in my head at the time, and I'm like, I was like, it's over. I've now lost my career. I've worked too hard for this. Everything that I hold dear to what I think this experience is now gone in a second. And it's terrible. And it's like, because you're convincing yourself how bad it is at the time. What happened in that moment is Chita Rivera popped into my head because she had she was hit by a taxi.
Yeah, it was a terrible car accident that she was in.
And it was like, how, and she's at 80 kicking her head above her, kicking her leg above her head, and I get to work with her, and she's just an inspiration and powerful, and she's living up to every dream that you want to have of somebody who's been in the business that long, and also Rocky, it ain't how hard you get hit, it's how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That pops in my head. So my experiences from shows just started coming to me, and I was like, get up, do it, go, finish this, sing this last song that's so important. It's called Seeing You, by Tim Minchin, and it's really all about Phil's experience of being able to see beyond himself at this point.
Right.
So it was very like hugely meta experience at that point. But at my final bow, I was like, okay, I'm taking my final bow in musical theater. I'm done. I'm hanging it up. I've just ruined my moment that I'm supposed to shine. In 48 hours we're supposed to open this thing, and I was supposed to get the reviews are supposed to come out, and all this.
Yeah.
So it was like a bunch of things that was just like too much to put on your shoulders at that point. And so after a lot of tears and going home and like thinking about it, and I was like,
you also rushed to the hospital right after that.
Went to the hospital. They were like, it's torn. I was like, oh, thanks for telling me that.
Well, that helped.
I was like, here's some crutches, thank you. Somehow mastered through friends and family telling me, I think you need to get up and do this. You're going to do this. And I was like, there's no way. Next day I started feeling a little bit better. I went to the physio. They're like, we can wrap this up. See how you are walking on it. I'm like, I'm getting determined now. People are saying like, you could possibly walk on this. We could put a brace on it, and you could do this. Like, how is this possible? And nobody's pressuring me. The producers were not pressuring me. It was all me pressuring myself to like open this show that meant so much to me. And I did it. I was like, opening night, everybody came in early to go through some tricky rehearsals, choreographed spots. I was modifying a few things, but not much, and did it with sweat pouring down my face and thinking about my leg constantly. But also, at a certain point in the show, when I'm just in my underwear and I'm on stage in a fur coat, I was just like, yeah, baby, just soak it in, everybody. Like, let's take advantage of this moment. Let's make it a comedy bit. And I was like, I think at that point, everybody was kind of like, we
saw it the week after. We saw it the week after you hurt your leg. We saw it again in June. We saw it 4 times. And I saw it before you hurt your leg in previews, and then after we saw Andrew Kahl at a matinee. And then we saw you with the brace on subsequently. And then we went back on closing night, which was huge. I mean, I have never been in an audience that like electric. Yeah, you're talking 3 standing O's in the middle of the show. It was
Amazing.
The show was beloved. I mean, like, it really, really, really was. So, and another thing I want to mention, and I've been gushing to you this whole time, so forgive me, but there's this moment that I'm listening to the cast recording. I listen to the cast recording all the time when I was in the midst of it being on Broadway, and I'm like, gosh, when I saw the show, he did the line like this, and he said this. And then on the cast recording, he's doing, and it was this weird lesson that was subconscious in like, oh, everything doesn't have to be the same all the time.
Yeah.
You're adding spontaneity and nuance, and there's something about that.
There's no like perfect way of doing all this stuff. I mean, even on cast recordings, you'll hear different things that don't happen in the show. They'll sort of edit things together. But I also threw some things out while we were recording because I would just hear it in my head constantly, and I was like, "Can I try something here?" Yeah. And I tried this like high note stuff in Hope at the end, which was not in the show.
Sustainable for 8 shows a week.
It was like, it was. I couldn't possibly do it because I was crawling under something or climbing up something.
Yeah.
But on the cast recording, I was like, "Let me try this," and Tim really, really liked it, and they kept it in. Yeah. So it was like, there's an experience on the soundtrack, and then there's an experience in the live version.
Exactly, yeah. Now's the time where I ask you how you did every single magic trick.
Exactly.
I have to ask for a big favor for you. I need you to ask Tim Minchin to write more musicals, because I think Matilda is one of the most brilliant things ever written. I think Groundhog is one of the most brilliant things ever written. I need him to write something else so badly.
I know. I don't know what his next project is. I know he's touring everywhere.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, I saw a couple of his shows. One's in London and one's in Australia, and just like, brilliant performer. I'm not. It's like it's a hard thing to do is to write musicals. Yeah. People who do it takes a long time. I went to BMI music theater writing course, so I did that back when I was doing Legally Blonde, so I've written stuff, and you have to love it, and you also have to love the form, and he certainly now has the ability to say, like, I want to write another musical, but he also does things that are really interesting. Yeah. And he's got a different way of thinking about the world, and he's got a lot to offer. In any case, it'll be, I know, most likely to be another project that Matthew Warchus and he want to do together, because they just found a team that works so well. For sure. And it's like they both have, when you find a team, collaborate, you have patience. It's like, go for it.
Last thing on Groundhog, talk to me about Bill Murray coming to see the show, not once but twice in a row.
Yeah.
That's
perfect joke.
Well, you get
perfect Groundhog Day joke.
It was a Groundhog Day joke.
He shows up in the same seat the next day.
It's so sick. Like, that's awesome. Talking about meeting Bill Murray and
I was so excited.
What you thought of the show?
I was so excited, and somehow I was calm about it because it just he's a comedy legend, and I grew up watching Saturday Night Live, or my dad would watch reruns of that and see him on it, and all his movies, everything, including Groundhog Day. There's just a legend who knows his craft, but also how he is as an actor. You can always trust him to have this certain sort of wry delivery and also wry look in his life as part of himself coming in. But he's just a great actor on many different levels. Right. But there's so much you can learn from that, and I certainly. Like, there was a few lines that were in the movie that were not in the script originally, and I was like, can we take this and put this back? It's a great joke. I'm sure it's a Bill Murray, like, one-off, but it just I know it's going to kill, and there's something there's something about it that I would just soak in that. So meeting him is just amazing. And then he came on stage after the show, talked with us for like an hour about how much he loved it, and did the same thing the next night.
That's so cool.
And he's like, he cracked open a beer on stage, and he's like, he's like, you want some? I was like, yeah, I'll drink from the can of Bill Murray.
That's so sick.
So I've been, as far as that was concerned, that was just like
and your Phil and the show in general is so different from the movie, and also keeps it. I wanna breeze through a couple things. Let's talk about Pretty Woman from particularly a stylistic approach. You're talking super 80s, super I'm thinking about my Andy Karl impression when I'm thinking about you, and I'm you and I. And there's a stylistic thing that's totally different than I feel like anything you had ever done up to that point, because it's Bryan Adams.
And Bryan Adams was like really, he was in the studio with us while we're recording the album, which is probably like top 10 coolest thing in the world. he knows his style and the way he wants a song sung. So we went through like almost every line and we phrased it the way that he sings it. Like as far as phrasing it, I can't sing like Bryan Adams. He sings like crazy high, but it was just about like what was one of the lines that I was singing?
What about freedom?
It was like,
sweet
I was like,
darling,
you're beautiful tonight. But he was like, it's got to be, darling, you look beautiful. Darling, you look beautiful tonight. He wanted things phrased in a way. It was like not how I'd do it. I'm thinking about a line.
Right.
So it was a good lesson in like, this guy knows his style really well. And so in the album, I think it's probably one of the greatest albums I've ever been on as far as how it sounds, how it's produced, and some of the songs are just like, they're just beautiful. You could play them on at home, and these are beautiful pop tunes, power ballads.
For sure.
There was one moment where I had seen the Out of Town run in Chicago. I was not in it at the time, and I had seen one of the productions before they went to Chicago. They had done one of the readings, and so I was familiar with the show. And I was like, I see some of the elemental, like I would do this role this way, or like he shouldn't say this, that should be hers. I was already making those decisions in my head. Sure. When I came in, and Jerry Mitchell was like, would you be interested in doing it? And I was like, yeah, can we sit down and talk with the script and also the song? There's like one or two songs that just like they start, they're a little conjuncty. And so me being like, brave enough to ask, like, can we change the lyric for freedom, change this one lyric in the beginning so that it is part of the scene that gets into it. It doesn't change it when you listen to it on its own, but it was about saying, what a strange night, and yet it feels right. That's kind of came from me. I'm gonna claim it here, but I'm sure that I'm not gonna get into rights. I'm not asking for any money. But it was like the first line of the song. I somehow was like able to convince them to like contribute. Let's think about what he would say after this and what he's doing, and so it was very cool. It was very cool to be amongst those people.
That is super cool. Let's talk about Into the Woods. I remember thinking, I was like, God, it would be so cool if Andy Karl did Cinderella's Prince when it came, and then they announced you, and I went to the first night.
Nice.
I went to the first night. I'll tell you honestly though, at that point I was in for Bad Cinderella, and I was going in for Cinderella's Prince in Bad Cinderella. That day was my first audition back from COVID, first in-person audition.
So many princes.
And so many princes, so many Cinderellas, and so. I was like, you know what? The audition didn't go that well, and I was like,
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna buy a big ticket for Into the Woods tonight at the box office.
Well done.
Right now, and I did, and it was honestly it was almost emotional. That audience, the second the curtain went up, and you hear the dun dun, and the Once Upon a Time, it was. That was a standing ovation of itself. It was
so good, such a great production, and taken from City Center, I think. That's where
City Center,
and to bring the orchestra on stage, I think it was. Beautiful,
so
because
cool.
There's something about that music that is so iconic, but it's so well written and so well orchestrated that the music really has to be a part of what they do. And telling the story in the way that they did was, costumes weren't like big and garish. Right. It was more like it was very stripped down, and there was and also how they did the giant with like the puppetry and stuff like that. I think it was like, this is great. What a great take on this. Yeah. And and it centered the music and the story just so well. Like that was the imperative thing that you need to look at. It wasn't the spectacle. It was like this. Listen to this as though you were opening an album of Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods. Yeah. And that's kind of how I think of the show, because in seeing it when I was a kid, when my parents took it to me, I was like, this album was one of the first musical theater albums that I just constantly ran in my head, and I learned every line of the Princes, and to know that it was available, and they offered me Cinderella's Prince just for the time that Gavin was taking some time off. Gavin Creel. I was like, oh my God, this is a bucket list thing. I've done some things that I truly love and things that are callbacks from just childhood. Right. So I took every advantage of being as good as I can, servicing the piece as much as possible. And then Josh Henry was going to take 6 weeks off, and I was like, hey, if you guys are interested, I could, play this.
And then do the other thing. Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, yeah, sure. So to be able to play both princes on Broadway in one of the greatest shows that I've ever known.
Yeah.
That's going.
I was most
that's
excited
right
for
here
your Any Moment because I knew you were gonna ham that.
Oh yeah.
And it was, like I said, especially because it was the first show. It was the first night that whole new cast was in, and SJB and Krista, and it was
Such
like
good cast.
It was that moment with you and SJB, Any Moment and Into Moments in the Woods was like it was
so
perfect.
good.
It was
such
perfect.
a good thing.
How do you go about approaching Sondheim? I mean, like Sondheim is our Shakespeare musical theater. How do you go about tackling it? Stylistically, especially, I guess.
Just study, and make sure every lyric is heard and that it's imperative. There's great clips on like YouTube or TikTok. You'll see Sondheim speaking when he was younger.
Yeah.
There's this one thing that I watched recently where he's talking about how he writes. A song is essentially like packed in there. You have to create like a third, almost an entire act of itself. This song has to be so lyrically well written, right. And he's seeking to service the piece so well that he's aware of every single word that he's using and every single sentence and how its cadences and how it sounds
right.
when you're singing it.
Right.
Someone who dedicated himself so much to the art form deserves as much study as you can.
For sure.
But also he was so good at writing character that you can bring what you can to it. I've heard people interpret Sondheim as they do Shakespeare. It's like you interpret it a different way.
For sure.
Gavin Creel was one of those people that made one of the princes.
Brilliant.
Like it was something foppish and wonderful and free about his performance, which I was like, oh, that's fantastic. I hope I can be as good at that for the 2 weeks because there's some people who have that gift of like interpreting something so well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that show. I loved you in that show. It was awesome.
Yeah, don't just sing Sondheim.
Yeah, right.
Like
there's
like,
so
know,
much.
Know the lyric, know the story you're telling when you're singing it. Don't just sing it.
Right. Let's talk about Moulin Rouge. You're in Moulin Rouge right now. You're doing the Duke. We saw the show a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. I'd seen it a couple years ago, but then we went back for the second pass, and it's such a fun part for you. I really wanted to hear the "So Fresh and So Clean." That was
it's so good. Like what an entrance, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And you're sitting in the box. Talk to me about Moulin Rouge, how it came about, and what's most exciting you about it right now.
A friend of mine who was playing the Duke prior to me is taking a leave to do another show, and I was like, he had mentioned my name to. He's like, "What do you think Andy Karl would do this?" And they were like, "I don't know if he's interested." And then he told me, I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested."
Yeah, of course.
It was one of those things where I was like, I offered to play the Duke prior. I was like, I want to put my name in the hat when the original guy was leaving.
Okay.
And then they had already cast David, who was doing it. So when it came around this time, I was like, yeah, throw my hat in the ring. And then I actually called up Alex Timbers, who had done Rocky, and I'm like, let's work together again. Let's see if we can do this. So I think everything sort of just worked out. It just worked out. I was like, thank God, because I love Moulin Rouge, and it's because it's so well directed. It's clean. It's fast. It gives you everything that you need. It's fun. It tells a story. It's a simple story of like, I can't pay the rent. I'll pay the rent. You must pay the rent. It's very, very. It's like it's simple enough story, and it gets you in the heart every time. Especially the second act. It really involves the audience to really think about what they think about love, what they think about what is most important in life.
For sure.
And it's a beautiful theatrical experience.
Yeah, no, for sure, I agree. And there's also that scene where you guys, it's like a full-on romp. It's a full-on farce where it's like, it's great and it's awesome, and you're great in it. It's awesome. Okay, we ask this question every time because we're big into manifestation. Manifest a dream guest to be sitting in this chair. Honestly, you're our dream guest.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
But yeah, manifest. Give me a dream guest. Give me someone that you want to see sitting in this chair.
I like put Nathan Lane here. Like,
oh,
come on.
Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Get Chris Siebert in here.
Yeah, Chris Siebert, awesome
these
too.
These people are.
I'll take it.
These people are icons. Like, but also like Megan Hilty, Stephanie J. Block. Any of the people I've basically worked with in the past like 20 years, put them in this.
Oh, dude, I'll take it. That's perfect. I'll take it. Okay, we do a segment on this pod every time. Since the podcast is called I Want to Be Like You, This segment is called AI Wanna Be Like You. Have you ever played with AI?
Just ChatGPT once.
Okay. So I asked AI to write a scene for the two of us to do together. The concept behind this scene, and I'm going to give a little bit more background. This is yours. And essentially what it is you're going to be playing a heightened version of yourself. You're playing Andy Karl. The catch is that in this version, you're this is an over the top version of Andy Karl, and you're the fan of me in this version. Okay. This is all written by AI, and here's the scene. The scene is called "Suck My Balls, I'm Out." You get it if you get it. If you know, you know. Keeping the structure of the vibe intact, Andy Karl is a heightened and over-the-top version of himself. Andy Karl.
Who isn't?
Yeah, the Broadway star turned wannabe podcast host with wild bravado. Now obsessed with my podcast, I Want to Be Like You, with Elbi Cespedes. I'm still Elbi Cespedes, a successful podcast host. Well, you know, that part I might have written in. And here we go. The setting is we're in a sunlit community center in New York, mid-morning. A small stage holds a podium, folding table with self-help books, and a banner reading, "Suck My Balls, I'm Out." Andy Karl struts in wearing a suit and a grin that could light Times Square. He's clutching a notebook labeled Andy's Life Lessons. Elbi Cespedes enters, casual, in jeans and a blazer. You'll never catch me in jeans and a blazer. But hey, AI does its thing. Carrying a sleek planner radiating calm confidence.
Spots, Elbi, gas. Tosses notebook in the air. Holy guacamole. It's Elbi Cespedes, the guru of grit, the titan of triumph. I'm Andy Karl, song and dance legend, podcast host in training, and your number one stan since I saw your podcast with Tommy freaking Bracco.
Andy Karl, huh? I think I've heard of you. Big energy. Calm down, though, man. I'm just here to guest speak. What's with the suit?
This, my power suit, wore it when I crushed Groundhog Day. Olivier in the bag. Baby drops to his knees and arms wide. Elbi, you're my hero. That AI Wanna Be Like You segment, I cried. I literally cried into my protein shake. I'd scale a mountain to soak up your wisdom.
Easy, man. I'm doing a workshop. Real talk, no glitter. You're crashing or you got a pitch?
Pitch? I'm a tsunami of inspiration. I've got charisma and landed me the role of Rocky. Keep on standing. You're the master, Elbi. I'm a spark begging for your flame.
Heard you stumbled a little bit. Froze during a live podcast last month, right? Tough crowd?
Yeah. Minor glitch. Mic cut out. I improvised with jazz hands till they clapped. You'd have turned it into gold, though. You're the Yoda of podcasts. Oh, my God. Give me a shot. Look, I'll shine for you.
All right, kid. You've got hustle and drive. I see it in you. Our next podcast's on Nathan Lane. You're welcome to sit in, but I don't fluff egos. I build them. Can you handle real notes? Or is that suit your shield?
Build me, oh wise one. I'm dough, I'm clay, I'm a lump of potential. With Elbi, I'll rise like a rock star. Andy Karl, podcast host supreme, forged in fire. The world will cheer.
Okay, Karl, you're in. Starts in 10. Warm up the vocals and bring the heart. Show me you've got more than flash and we'll talk greatness.
Greatness it is. I'll be your MVP, Elbi. Suck my balls. I'm out.
There it is.
Think about it. Think about it. Starring me, Andy Karl, booked and blessed, the king of kick-ass.
Dude, there it is. That's your AI Wanna Be Like You.
That was terrible.
Okay, so
You were great.
Listen, AI wrote it. It wasn't me. But there's moments where I'm like, you would think I wrote it, but I didn't. Okay, on this podcast, we started this podcast with the question of, who was your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid? And now our last question is, who is your I Want to Be Like You now?
Now. It's you.
It's
AI doesn't get it wrong.
Dude, thank you so much for this. This means like a lot, man. This is like everything, and
That's great. No, thanks for inviting me.
I
It
can't
was
even
fun.
believe you're here. I can't believe you just did this. This is awesome.
I mean, just the fact that all the stuff that you're doing right now, I'm just like, I'm convinced I am gonna be that guy who's gonna be begging.
No, dude, I want to
be
do a
on the
show
podcast.
with you.
Yeah,
I'm like, let's do
do
the
it.
Groundhog Day movie. I'll be Ned.
I'm in.
That's I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. This is Andy Karl. Woo! I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Christian Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Ina Cespedes, Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes, and of course, Andy Karl.